a lot of talent on it. But how do you feel about this movie, Idle Hands? Because I hadn't watched it since the first time I watched it.
Same here. The last time I saw it was on VHS with a slightly static up version. For me personally, I still kind of liked it, but I didn't like the way the women were portrayed.
Oh, very badly.
I'm not saying this just to be like, hey, you know.
No, yeah, it was bad.
It was definitely like all the women were like, oh, I don't know. Yeah. And it's like, I really didn't like how the scene where he like grabs her butt and then she's like into it, and it just like, this is kind of their first time like meeting, even though they grew up across the street from each other.
Yeah.
I was really weirded out by that.
When you're 17 and watching it, you probably don't think about that stuff. You're like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that's the dopest thing ever.
But now I'm a 36-year-old married man. I'm like, get your hands off of her.
That's why I thought
they try to make it up where she's like, oh, they won't like some bloody boy in my room. Like, they try to give her some motivation. Have you seen that when her parents are coming home and he's in the room?
Oh, yeah.
And it's just,
because they make her kind of like a cool, like, chick. Because they make her, she's a bassist. There are scenes.
Yeah, and she writes.
They cut out in the movie for flowing purposes, but there's supposed to be multiple scenes where she's actually playing the guitar or playing the bass on her balcony and watching Devon Sawa and his buddies.
Oh, okay.
There's scenes, and if you watch it closely, you can see deep in the background she's still on her balcony, but they cut the scenes out.
Yeah, so it's just, that was a little weird. And then there's, it was just the 90s, pretty much. Like, the dialogue in here was very 90s, so I'm not going to sit there and be like,
of course. It's like saying Smash Mouth sucked in 96. It's like, come on.
Oh, I love me some Walking on the Sun. Come on now.
Song. Yeah.
Dude, I'll sing it right now. It ain't no joke. I like to buy the world a token, keep the world just singing perfect time. All right, so.
Do you remember the swing music made a giant comeback in the 90s?
Oh, yeah, 'cause swingers.
Yeah. Remember that? Like, everybody, like, when people look at the 90s and they go, oh my gosh, look at the baggy clothes and the outfits, Dwayne Wayne. And it's like, well, for us in the 90s, it was like swing made a big comeback.
Yeah.
It did. And like, what was it called? Not quite like punk, but it was more like...
Ska?
Was that ska?
Are you saying the jazz, like, or not, swing music?
It was like swing, but then they also combined it with punk rock.
Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. Well, that's like ska.
Was that called ska? I thought it was called something else. You're probably right.
Probably swing punk.
Swing punk. There we go. Like Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
And another thing that this movie, it came out shortly after Columbine. So there's a lot of issues with that. And I read an Ebert review that I liked a lot. And it's a little bit longer, but I'm going to read it. Ebert said, the movie has energy and is probably going to attract a young audience, especially on video, since the R rating will keep away some viewers in its target audience, which did happen. It was big on video, which is junior high school boys. After the Colorado tragedy, some commentators have wondered if movies like this aren't partly responsible. I don't think we have to worry about idle hands. Kids understand this kind of macabre comedy, which is in the ancient horror spoof tradition, and they don't take it seriously. Any viewer capable of being influenced by such silly gags would have to be deeply disturbed already. The only thing this movie is likely to inspire a kid to do is study Fangoria magazine to find out how the special effects were achieved.
That sounds a lot like what Alexander Aja said about High Tension.
Oh, he said, because people were saying that movie could influence people?
Yeah, exactly. And he says in the commentary, they said, what do you think about the violence in your movie? Is that going to influence like lovers to actually act out and brutally murder their parents? And he said, I kind of, okay, well, his French accent is really kind of like whatever, but I'll try to imitate it. But he's like,
just say normal.
What are you kidding me? This is a movie.
Yeah. And I mean, his aesthetic is very heightened, too.
Yeah, he's really good at what he does, too. So it would be more of an insult, in my opinion, to say that his movies would influence anybody to do this. Like, it's a movie. Like, come on, guys.
I think movies like maybe Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, or those types of films. I'm not saying they're influencing anybody, but...
It would definitely dramatize it to make it look like you could get away with it. Yeah. And it's like, but if you would already have to be in that mindset already. Go already.
This is a film where this kid's hand gets taken over. He kills his parents, kills his friend. His friends come back because they're too lazy to go to heaven. Because they're not
that's
bad.
A great scene.
Yeah, like, it was too far. And then they just hang out around the house smoking weed and eating Cheetos.
I love the head. The head, it looks so good. I mean, you got to think about the special effects.
I was wondering how they did that.
And then now you know that the guys that worked on the thing.
Yeah.
Well, no kidding. It was pretty well done. I love that.
I mean, I think the visual I think Devon Sawa did a good job with the physical comedy. He sold all that. But this movie, though, I guess the main problem that's wrong with it is between Anton, who's played by Devon Sawa, and then you have Nub, played by Eldon Henson, and Mick by Seth Green. They're just not likable people. I mean, they're murdered. They don't really care. And at the end, Eldon Henson's trying to hook up with this girl, and then she dies. And then the guy's mad that he didn't get a piece.
Yeah, and he's like, well, she's all over the place.
Yeah, and he's like, well, you can go back there and try to get a piece.
Yeah, you can go back there and get a piece right now. And it's like,
Guys, like, a woman was just murdered.
I guess because the demographic for the people who would laugh at that would be, what, 16 to 22?
Well, I guess we're our age.
At our age, we look at that. And it's
at 99.
Yeah. But it wouldn't, yeah, I mean, yeah, at 99, I remember loving this movie and being like, oh my God, this is the funniest thing ever. And then Harold and Kumar came out and it's like, oh, okay, well, that's way better.
Yeah. but I do think they capture the stoner vibe really well. I think the performances are good. Eldon Henson's really good. Seth Green is super relaxed. But yeah, no, you know who my favorite characters were? I loved Debbie LaCour. Isn't that what they called her? LaCour?
Debbie LaCour?
Yeah. She's the druidic priestess.
Yeah, Vivica Fox.
Yeah, Vivica
she's
Fox.
Great. Oh man,
and then I liked
dynamite.
Randy, who's in Event Horizon. You know, the Event Horizon.
He's a really good actor.
Yeah, Jack Noseworthy. And what I like them the best because she's just this badass hunter with a knife who wants to kill this thing, and Randy is just some really scuzzbucket guy who has a big truck and a license plate.
Really into Satan.
Yeah, and the license plate says "big truck." Like that's what it says. That's a good. There's a couple good visual gags in this movie.
There's a couple of great like one-liners too, like quick one. Like whenever after the two twins are dead and they go to Jungle Burger or whatever, or Safari Burger was where they worked at. They're crying over and everything. And the truck pulls up to order some burgers, and Devon Sawa is trying to talk to him. He's like, "Tell me everything you know about the devil." He's like, "Is that on the menu?" Yeah, really?
And I do like that scene where he's like, I got into a fight with my cat. And Jessica Alba's like, you look like you got your ass kicked. And he's like, I did okay. Like, those are the bits I like. That's a funny line.
Or like, there's also, like, whenever they're microwaving the hand, and then the two stoner buddies come over to cook burritos. They open up the door to open the burrito, and the hand goes flying out. And they're just like, huh. They throw the burritos back in. Devon Sawa comes back and is like, no, don't. And he's like, well, all they had was bean and cheese. It's all right, bro. I'll get you another one.
Those guys they're useless, the two of them.
Gosh, yeah. They're as useless as you get.
And they knew the hand left, but they stayed around eating burritos.
I just love that scene because the hand goes flying out the window and they're just like, all right. But what I thought was interesting was those burritos were called Baffa's Burritos, which was the name of the cinematographer.
Oh, really?
I instantly recognized that packaging because those are the burritos that we used to buy when I was a kid. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know that packaging. Like I haven't seen those since the 90s, but I recognized that immediately. And I looked it up just because it drove me nuts because I had to figure it out. It was Tina's Burritos. Hey. I just slapped a yellow sticker on it saying Baffa.
That's funny.
But the interesting thing about Christopher Baffa, who was the cinematographer, he built the crane that they used in the beginning of the movie for that crane shot.
Yeah, so it looks great.
Oh, it's a beautiful shot.
Yeah.
But the director said he asked him, because I think at that point he really didn't have a whole heck of a lot under his belt.
Director or cinematographer?
The cinematographer. Sorry. He asked him, let's see what you have, and he brings out the crane, and he's just like, he says, you know how to use this. He's like, I built it. Like, okay, so I guess this guy actually knows what he's doing. So he kept, he talks about that. That's jokingly the reason why he hired him was because he's like, you built this crane. So,
dude had a crane. I'm hired. That's his money.
This guy's, he's really good. But he went on later on to, he shot Next Friday, Running with Scissors, and seasons 3 through 6 of Nip Tuck.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, right.
So he worked.
He worked a lot, and he's still working to this day.
Wow. So he built it. For what it is, it looks good, the opening shot.
Yeah, it's very much like Halloween.
So
it starts out almost, but I guess in Halloween they didn't really have money for a crane.
With Fred Ward, which is crazy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cameos. There's a Twister reunion in this movie. There's a bunch of people, like two of the tornado chasers from Twister in this. There's some, there's some weird random cameos from pretty big actors.
Offspring.
In here. Yeah, Offspring. Gets his scalp dripped off.
I love that. I love how Offspring just all of a sudden just like, whoop, there's it. And then he talks about when they pulled off the, that and how it looked there in the movie. They did the commentary very shortly after the movie came out on DVD, which would have been like 2001.
Yeah, yeah.
So like it looks so real, and I'm watching it, I'm like, that still looks kind of real.
I mean, practical effects, right? I mean, that's what does it. I also love the scene where the hand sharpens its...
Yeah, it just sticks its fingers into the
pencil sharpener. I mean, there's some good bits.
Yeah.
And I think they do a good job with the hand. Remember when the hand it says, dumb move, Anton? Like, the hand spells that out.
Yeah, yeah.
So the hand is mad at Anton, and it takes time to spell it out. Like, he's annoyed at him. It's like Venom. When Venom and Tom Hardy split, they're annoyed at each other.
I still haven't seen Venom.
Oh, that's fun.
No, that's always, everyone keeps telling me to watch it. I'm like, I haven't gotten around.
I mean, it's Tom Hardy. I really like it. A lot of people are like, it's not a good movie, but it's fun. But I think it's well written. I think it's a fun movie.
I mean, to be fair, I haven't really watched too many comic book movies. I literally just watched Iron Man the other day.
Oh, geez Louise.
First time, yeah, I know. That was a deep confession.
So, one quick question. After this movie came out, did you smoke oregano? Did you go home and did you and your brother sit there, put some oregano in something and try to smoke it?
No.
Did you put weed in a asthma inhaler?
I did not. I didn't even have asthma, so I would have been a pretty good giveaway. I thought what was funny was that the oregano thing, there was a guy that I went to junior high school with, so it would have been 9th grade, so it would have been around this time that this movie came out. He actually tried to sell oregano as weed.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
Did people smoke it?
I don't know, because I just
you only sell it once.
Well, yeah, right. You can't. This is not like a return value.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny because like he tried to sell it to people, and it was just like, because like I'm used to, like my mom was always cooking growing up, so like I've always been surrounded by spices, and I'm like, you got some bay leaves, like,
yeah, you got some thyme in there.
Looks like right. Looks like we're gonna make a killer soup base.
Yeah. Hey, did you buy weed? No, I brought a soup base.
Put a little extra salt.
My broth is going to be delicious.
Put some ribs in there.
Put some Arrested Development, put a little ribs. You got broth. Yeah, baby. I love that scene. Carl Weathers talking about broth. So, yeah, I mean, I always thought that oregano scene was pretty funny. And this movie, it's kind of weird because I like Duke the dog, too. I love Duke.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Duke's a nice guy. But also, when he realizes Hand is evil, right? He kills his parents. He knows he kills his parents. He kills Nub and Seth Green. And then Mick
and P-Nub.
P-Nub.
You know where they got their names from?
What?
Because they never explained it in the movie, but it was an in-joke that Eddie Murphy on a Saturday Night Live skit.
Buckwheat.
He was playing Buckwheat, and he was singing Looking for Love in all the wrong places. And he would sing it as Wookin' Panub in all the wrong places. So they were like, oh, Peanut Panub. So that's where they got the idea for their names. I mean, to go along with it, I mean, this movie also had some great producers that Andrew Licht. I can't remember. I don't know how to say his last name. But
this guy had power behind him. He had the Corman. A lot of people come from Corman, right?
Yeah, they did.
Cool. Cameron.
License to Drive was the movie. Little Monsters, Waterworld, and then The Cable Guy.
Oh.
And then this. Same producers.
They went from two of the 90s biggest, buzziest, Waterworld and Cable Guy kind of flops, right? Movies that were good, but
was Cable Guy a flop?
It didn't make as much money as it didn't make as much money as his other movies. People were expecting Ace Ventura, but they got a weirdo.
Well, it was originally supposed to be Chris Farley.
Oh, Chris Farley? And then they just took that karaoke scene in Cable Guy. That's a squirrely ass moment right there. And
at the end, whenever they're on the satellite dish, and he's like, "It's just like the ending from GoldenEye, isn't it?"
He says that?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that.
The movie came. It's like right after GoldenEye came out, so it was like it looked a lot like the ending of GoldenEye. And also one of the other producers, Jeffrey Sudson, he started out as a grip doing 70s B horror films.
Whoa.
So I mean, a lot of these movies these guys have histories of making movies similar to this. He also he produced The Wraith, Fright Night Part 2, Brain Scan, which I would love to do a podcast on that movie.
Brain Scan?
Brain Scan. That movie takes place in around my hometown.
Very nice.
In Pennsylvania, because when he says his phone number, when he's giving his phone number to the calling machine, he says 717, which is there we go.
He doesn't say 555, 555,
he
555.
Right?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 Fake Street.
Now, all right. So, any other more producer news?
Well, after they did this, after Jeffrey Sudson did this, he then did Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Hey, I love that movie.
That's such a
Clooney
great
directed
movie.
film. Rockwell crushing it.
And Breakdown.
Oh, I like Breakdown.
Kurt Russell classic.
Everybody you sent me a message saying I should do Breakdown for the 200th episode. Some other guy sent me a message and
it's a
said,
great movie.
He said, if you don't like Breakdown, we're not friends anymore. And I'm like, geez Louise.
Well, consider me your best friend.
Yeah. Air high five. So, I know we just talked about the producers, but I just want to